Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live. I'm joined by Steve and Jerome. How you doing, boys?
Good, mate. Yeah, very good, thanks.
Right,
good, thanks.
9 cup finals to go, 9 games to go, and it starts off with Liverpool. The Liverpool team who are currently rested half of their team just so they don't get absolutely whooped by us this weekend. That says a lot about Arsenal's team. Plenty to discuss. We'll be discussing the Liverpool game. We'll be discussing the reaction from the Leeds game. There's, as normal, there's a lot of people talking rubbish about us. We're going to be talking about that. We're talking about some potential, squad players, the importance of our squad players, and, of course, the Liverpool preview. Jerome, you weren't here the other day. Leeds 4-1. In the end, quite convincing. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, really, really comfortable in the end, wasn't it? Maybe in the first 30 minutes, a bit too much like a basketball game. They had a few too many sort of chances for my liking, really, Leeds. But once we got the first goal, it was, they stepped it up a gear, Arsenal. And for 15, 20 minutes in the second half, they were really enjoying themselves. And, just very, very pleased with that result. Maybe not an amazing performance, but good enough to win, good enough to bring Saka off the bench, and for him to just play in second gear when he came on. Great result. And now it's like now the season starts basically, doesn't it? It's sort of the run-in, but now it really starts.
And Gabriel Jesus getting a brace. Good to see him get on the score sheet, and not just the penalty, but in normal play as well.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest of penalties, was it? It wasn't. He didn't strike it the way Harry Kane strikes his penalties, but I actually heard that he's actually missed more penalties than he scored in his career.
Is he?
Yeah, I think if he had scored recently, I don't think he would have taken it. I think the team just wanted him to score. They thought,
he needed that goal, didn't he?
Here's an opportunity. Go and take the penalty. But look, it went in. So that's the most important thing. And his second goal was brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant move. So great.
On that goal, Steve. Great 1-2. With I think it's Trossard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely play by Jesus. Showed his determination and will to get into that area.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a striker like him at Arsenal. I can't think of one. He's certainly sort of someone who's a bit, unique, if you like. He's special. He's special. I mean, when we signed him from Manchester City, I was excited, and I thought he'd be good, and I thought he'd score us loads of goals. But he's become something a little bit different, isn't he? He's not someone who you can see breaking goal records at Arsenal, but you can certainly see him. He's a match winner, and whether that's scoring goals, whether that's just down to his work rate, or whether that's just down to just his assists, whether that's down to the way he is off the pitch, the way he is with the rest of the squad, his passion, his leadership. And I never sort of took that into the considerations when we signed him. It was just like Gabriel Jesus is going to get his goals, and that was it. So to add all to that, to what we've seen this season, and to think he's been out all that time injured. I mean, and to come back and literally his first Premiership game, full game, and to come in and score 2 goals. I mean, we see him come on against, was it Sporting? And we was amazed at the way he...
And it's Fulham.
Was it Fulham?
Out the blocks, yeah.
Yeah, it was from out the blocks, wasn't it? And it was like, wow. And I was like, I've never seen anybody been out for that long, came in to add to from an injury, and just looked like he's just a serious injury, and react and play like that. He's special. He's a special human being, and he's come back in at at just the right time. And to think like off the pitch, while he was injured, he was that cheerleader, wasn't he? He was on the sidelines, he was in the crowd, obviously in the dressing room. Just, an incredible signing, incredible man, incredible human being, an incredible footballer, and we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, Jerome, you say he's not a 20-goal a season striker. We've seen there's room to grow with his finishing, but there's no reason why he couldn't have that season where everything he touches turns to goal. Surely,
yeah,
he's in the right place at the right time.
I think he's one of those strikers. Like he goes through different purple patches. Like he'll go like 5 games in a row and he'll score in every game. He'll score like twos and ones in like a streak. And I've got no doubt if he didn't miss, like Steve said, a few months, like I don't think he'd be too far away from 18, 19, 20 league goals, which is amazing. Especially with the creativity he's got next to him, either side of him, and just behind him as well. So yeah, we'll score bucket loads of goals with him in the team, and I'm sure maybe next season, hopefully he stays injury free, and he's got goals in him, hasn't he? He's definitely got goals in him.
Yeah, Steve, you see him scoring, having one of those seasons where he just bags a load of goals.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know, like I said, that he's not going to be someone who breaks records, but you're right. I still think he's the type of player that again, like you said there, that if he's having a good season, again, especially with the players that are around him, he could easily get 20, 25. He could even come away with a golden boot. He's one of those players where it's a bit, what he's going to do is just so unexpected. But whatever he does, what he'll lack in goals, he'll give you somewhere else. In assist, in work rate, or just something different on that pitch that I can't think of a striker. I mean, all right, look, we've got Haaland, and he's a prolific goal scorer and an incredible goal, and we've not seen nothing like him, and it's crazy, the way he is. But I mean, as he, there's so many more things that Jesus has got better to his game than what Haaland has. Yeah, but he's not a goal scorer like Haaland, and he never will be. But I don't think if you was to go for everything else, that you would want from a striker, I don't think he's better. I know you want a forward to score goals, but there's a lot of other things that you need to, you need to be part of the team. You need to, contribute in other ways, give other things, and I think Arteta knows that. And do you know what? I don't think it's swapping for him, as mad as that sounds. But yeah, I think he really could. On a good season, he could easily nick 20, 25 with no problem at all.
Yeah, Jerome, another player that did well the other day. We've got Martinelli, Trossard, but Trossard once again showing that 26 million was absolute pittance we paid for him.
Yeah, really, really interesting performance with Trossard, because I think what's clear, I think anyway, this is just my view, is that he's not the sort of player where his damage is done on the wing, like especially on the right. He looks a bit like a fish out of water on the right hand side when he was on the wing. When he come inside, totally different. Like with the assist for Jesus' goal, he came alive. But he's a different type of player. So I think he had a couple of options. Arteta, who he could have put on the right, he obviously went for Trossard, but I think he does so much damage through the middle if he's playing. Sort of. I think on the left wing, when he's on the touchline, he seems a lot more comfortable than when he's on the right. He sort of didn't know what to do with himself, where to be, who to pass it to, like the combinations. But like, what an impact he's had in this team, and it's so much so that when it comes to picking the team on Sunday, like picking that front three, it's not like a given who he's going to pick, is it? And that's probably the biggest compliment you can play to Trossard since he's come in here, because he's competing with 3 unbelievable players, and he's put his like hat in the ring to be like one of them, not just the reserve, but like par with them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Steve, there was a fair few. I've even had debates with people online where they try to claim that Trossard is an average player. I think he's shown how above average he is since he's joined in January. I'll pull up the stats.
Yeah, I mean, a bargain is an understatement. I mean, Jerome just said there that we've brought a player in from Brighton now, who let's say, for instance, he's a squad player, but can literally, for me anyway, can play down the middle, and I wouldn't blink. He can come in for Martinelli. I wouldn't blink. And he's not the same player as Saka, obviously. They're different, totally different. But there's no reason why he can't play right-sided in the odd Champions League or the odd Europa Cup game. We've always been looking for, a 60 million, 70 million pound, or literally someone to take the pressure off of Saka. But has anybody ever looked at the fact that he's already there? And now it's Trossard, and he can literally do anything across that, and he can even be that player who can come in with Saka. Now, a lot of people might disagree with that. I thought, like Jerome, it took him a little while to get into the game against Leeds, but I think as the game went on, I thought he got better and better and better, and he did start to link up well with Ben White, who was outstanding on the day. And at the end of it, I thought he was really popping it. He was popping it inside. He was ducking inside. He was getting behind the defenders. And again, like he pulled that incredible ball back for Jesus, which was Saka-esque. If Saka would have done that, we would have been all like, Saka. So this guy for 27 million is unreal, and he could have. And I'll tell you what, he could have saved Arsenal like a lot of money in the summer transfer window when we're looking for that player for Saka, because if Reece Nelson doesn't fit the grade, or for some reason or other we don't know what's going to happen, you've got this guy in now. And then we can spend more money in those midfield areas. Because at the moment, I'm hearing that we've got a certain amount of budget. But Trossard could easily fit in to be that Saka replacement. But he's a special, similar to Jesus. He came in and just surprised me no end on what he was about. Incredible signing.
Yeah, 11 games, 8 goal contributions, 7 assists, 1 goal. So can't complain. It's been an absolutely outstanding form since his January transfer signing. How you doing, Melvin? Good to see you. All right. So news has come out that Mikel Arteta would like to keep Florian Balogun, Kieran Tierney, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Rob Holding beyond the summer. Just been speaking about Trossard. How important are these players, the likes of the Trossards, the Holdings, players which played maybe not necessarily Trossard, but definitely the Rob Holdings, the Kieran Tieneys, who's only going to come in a game. Emil Smith-Rowe could potentially do something important towards the end of the season. Steve, how important are these players to your team?
To me, massive. And I was so pleased to be in the news today. And what I was told, and look, if we go, Emil Smith-Rowe, he loves Arsenal. He wants to be there. We've heard sort of things from Arteta in the past, but he's got to be massively important. For me, he could be that replacement, for Odegaard, or he's another player who's very versatile. One thing we've got to remember about Mikel Arteta, he loves a versatile footballer, right? Same as Pep Guardiola. They're like twins, these two. They play the same way, they think the same way, they do things the same way, and I'm sure they act in the dressing room the same way. They're like, they sync with each other. They're exactly the same. And they love players who can play in versatile. And that's why Emile Smith-Rowe, for me, is going nowhere. And he doesn't want to go nowhere. And that's good enough for Mikel Arteta. Again, he's a player who can play in multiple positions. He's one of the most technically gifted players at Arsenal, in my opinion. He's only young. He's an England international. Selling him? This is not happening. He's not going. Mikel Arteta ain't stupid. And look, and again, we go on to Kieran Tierney. Again, we all love Kieran Tierney, and for me, what I heard today, which I wasn't really surprised because it was something that I pretty just I thought of anyway. That Nuno Tavares, Tommy Ayew, great. He's came in to be that backup, but he's not that sort of player who would be that. Oh, Zinchenko's finished. Injured for 6 months. We've been Tommy Ayew in. That I wouldn't be happy with that. I wouldn't be happy. For me, Tommy Ashew's the other side. Right, he's a right back, not a left back. He can do the man marking jobs every now and then, and he's been brought in instead of Tierney to do that sometimes. But as a proper replacement for Zinchenko, that's got to be Kieran Tierney. But at the same time, Kieran Tierney needs to want it. We know Emile Smith-Rowe wants it. Kieran Tierney's got to want it as well. And again, similar to Pep, right? He won't stand his way, Arteta, if they want to leave. And so Kieran Tierney's got to show that he wants to stay, he wants to fight. But Arteta wants him to be there. He wants him to be that player. Rob Holding, the disrespect for this guy is incredible for me from Arsenal fans. I have to say. Really, I have to say, I don't think they realise what he is at Arsenal. I don't think they realise what he brings to Arsenal. I don't think they realise how good he is. I mean, he came in for Saliba. He's been absolutely outstanding. He's a massive influence in the dressing room. And
what do you say to people that say that that's not enough?
I don't know what more they want, mate. I'd like to ask them what
they say. They want a better player.
Who? I mean, who do they want to bring in as an understudy? Who, for me, bleeds Arsenal when he comes.
That's up for Arsenal's scouting department. I don't know, but we should bring in better. This. I'm just throwing back.
Sense. Yeah. I know. But
because I've just had it now from the post that you put up. Underneath it, someone's coming and said, well, why would we keep Rob Holding when we can get better? And my response was, you're going to get a better fourth choice defender.
You ain't.
And he said, well, there's players out there. I said you'd have to look at the importance of what he brings to the squad off the pitch as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's a leader, isn't he? He's a leader.
But the response was that we need more than that.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have to say, I'd have to, I've got to watch what I say on it when I do these things. But I don't know what they want. Where are you going to get someone who Ben White's obviously would normally, but now Ben White's our main right back. And I think he'll be that forevermore. You need a replacement for William Saliba, and so you're looking for someone in there, right? Who are you going to go and get? You've got someone there. You've got Rabbo. He never lets us stand, the guy. He never lets us stand. He's turning into a really good backup defender who, in the dressing room's unreal. And the last few games, we're going through this tight. We could be saying at the end of this, right? Rob Holding. He was the one that one of the reasons why we went on and won the title. I don't know. I love Rob Holding. I think he's a perfect replacement for Saliba. And it does help with him having Gabriel next to him. But I really don't know what they want. You can't just go and buy someone and tell them that they're going to be an understudy. you know, when you've got someone there who bleeds red and white and is happy to do it and performing like he does. So I can't. No, I don't agree with the people that are saying those things.
Melvin says, "Well, what Kidior?
Right. Kiwior plays on the left, doesn't he? He's Gabriel. Gabriel's his replacement, but they haven't bought Kiwior to get rid of Holding. I'm telling you, they haven't.
Yeah,
you've only got to listen to Arteta's words and his statements when he talks about Holding. It's not going nowhere.
Jerome, Arsenal never won a league with just Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Dennis Bergkamp, Ashley Cole, Sol Campbell. It was done with a squad. The likes of Van Bronckhorst was in there, Edu, Kanu, Kolo Toure was in there. The list goes on. What's the importance of having a strong squad to make sure you can win the league?
Yeah, of course. Especially, you basically got to have two people that you're comfortable starting in every position, because the competition is so fierce now that just one player, maybe not at the level, can make a difference. Going, just adding to the Holding discussion, which was really good. There is obviously a difference in quality between Saliba and Holding. No one's denying that.
Mm-hmm.
I think just to say something, I guess, on the other side, is that against Leeds and Palace at the Emirates, can't fault Holding, really. Done the job well. The trouble for us between now and the end of the season, is the games that are going to define whether we win the league or not are probably, out of the 9 games we've got left, 3 of them are probably the 3 hardest fixtures you could hope for. Man City away, Liverpool away, and Newcastle away. Playing against Palace and Leeds at home is one thing. When you're playing at Anfield and you're facing Núñez, one of the quickest players in the league, and your team tend to play quite high up, leaving a lot of space in behind, for all Holding strengths, unfortunately,
pace is not one of them.
The big elephant, not elephant in the room, that's the wrong expression, but it's the pace. He's good at heading balls away, clearing. His passing is very good. He's done very well passing the last couple of games. But if there's one thing that's going to maybe cause us problems, which can cause us problems with Saliba as well, because we play higher, but it's just that pace. And so that's my only concern, really, is that you couldn't handpick 3 harder games, basically, if anyone possibly playing. And but as Steve said, as a 4th choice centre back, like, it's probably hard to find someone better unless your scouting is incredible, or if you spend a shitload of money on a 4th choice centre back. And if you spend, and how much money really are you going to spend on a 4th choice centre back? Because Saliba and Gabriel are so far and away the best 2 centre backs. Like, the other 3rd choice will hardly play, because you never really rotate your centre backs, do you? You only really play a 3rd choice when one of them's injured. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, and hopefully, for all our sakes, he'll play at a very high level. Holding. Hopefully he'll be playing with most of the other first 11. I think some of the maybe poorer performances comes maybe when he had maybe Cedric at right back next to him, perhaps. And he had a combination of that at the side. He had El Nene in front of him. If he's got the 1st choice 11 around him, and hopefully that will help. It's a really interesting discussion. And
I think, sorry, mate. Yeah.
So I'll ask you something on that. So would you? Do you see room for improvement in terms of Arsenal should go out and potentially look for a better option than Holding? Because the reactions, and more have come in, the reactions have been pretty much to say, surely we should be looking to upgrade on Holding of all of them. Tierney, Balogun, Smith Rowe, fine. But Holding, they're seeing that as a player Arsenal should look to upgrade. What's your thoughts on that?
I think because of the way we play, with a lot of space behind us, I would like someone that's more mobile, that's quicker. I think that is so important. Firstly, in the modern game, but especially with the way we play. If you can keep up with someone in terms of your pace, then they've got to do something very special to beat you. I mean, how often do you see Saliba and Gabriel get beaten? Not a lot, and a lot of that is because of their pace. Because you can't beat them for pace, impossible. Whereas Holding, there's maybe a bit of a crack in the door where if you get in one-on-one, people might fancy their chances. So yeah, I'd love a more mobile centre back, but yeah, that's just me. That's just me.
I think Holding. I think there some people just very quickly. I mean, I think that a lot of people are judging Holding when, like you said, when Suarez was right back, when he had to play next to Socrates, when he was with Mustafi, and because he was there around those players, right? They're thinking, oh, Holding was there. We remember how he was then, but let's give him a chance, eh?
Yeah.
Now he's got Ben White to the right side of him, when he plays, to say, yeah, because he's only going to come in with Saliba's injured, right? He's his replacement. He's only going to, so he's got Ben White to his right, who's not only is he a very good player, very intelligent player, he's also a right-sided centre back. So they can have some kind of like telepathy of how to work with each other. So that's good. And you've got Gabriel, one of the best centre backs, if not the best centre back in the league. And you've also got Shinchenko on the other side, who is always, geeing people up. And he's got Thomas Partey in front of him. It is a big difference from the days of when people used to go and have a proper Holding. So I get what Jerome's saying about the Leeds and Crystal Palace thing. I understand that. But from what I've seen since he's came in and played with this team, he hasn't let us down ever with this team that that we've got now. So yeah, this he does well anyway.
It'll be interesting to see how he gets on against those two, because he's going to be playing against Liverpool this weekend. So that'll be a litmus test to see if there is need to upgrade. Because I say, unless you're bringing in someone, because my response to one of them was, unless you're bringing in someone, what did I say? I said, I'd argue that there's a large importance of team dynamic and what he brings off the pitch as well. So unless you're bringing in someone who is that much better than him, then I don't see any point. Because if you're bringing in someone who's just a little bit better than Rob Holding, then what about off the pitch that he's bringing? What about the team morale? What about the team camaraderie that he brings to the squad? I massively think people underplay that. Like, I'd love someone to ask a manager the importance of team spirit. And when we talk about team spirit doesn't just boil down to 11 players. It has to be a squad. You don't get team spirit off of 11 players. You get resentment. You get people that are bitching in the background. I've seen it happen before. When there's players that aren't playing and they feel like they're at a level, it's not long until they're getting into other people's ears that are on the bench as well. So having the right dynamic, having the right mentality in the squad, someone who's buying into a team thing, which a lot of them are. If you listen to Tomiyasu's comments, his comments were very complimentary of Ben White and how he's played so well. He's keeping his shirt. And when I get an opportunity, I'm going to try and take his place. That's exactly what you want. You don't want people getting uppity and whinging about the fact that they're not playing. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. Jerome, do you think that Mikel Arteta can do a better job of, let's just say, for argument's sake, next season, of integrating players into the squad more like Kieran Tierney? And I know Emil Smith-Rowe's been injured, so I'm sure he would have got more of a chance. But for argument's sake, Emil Smith-Rowe as well.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I think that why he hasn't I think that the first 11 have just done so well. I think he's just been reluctant to change it. I mean, that's the saying, isn't it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's what Arteta's done this season. Like, you could easily have taken Zinchenko out and put Tierney in, but I just think he's been so happy with how it's going that he hasn't wanted to do that. Smith Rowe's a sort of different story, really, because of his injury. But other than that, like, the team has picked itself this year. But yeah, the concern is that players like Tierney will become unhappy, and I think you need him in the squad. I mean, if Zinchenko had a long-term injury and you don't have Tierney, then that left-back position becomes a real problem.
Yeah.
That's why they need these two very good players in each position. That's just the way the sport has gone, especially if you want to win the league against an animal like Man City.
Yeah.
Steve, do you think he's part of Mikel Arteta's learning curve to have a little bit more trust in some of the other squad players? Do you think it's a case that he has to integrate them more in the Premier League and every other squad, or is it a cup team that you have? How would you play it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all would love to see Smith Rowe, Tierney especially, get more game time. We'd love to see it. If it was if it was like a different, if it was in a different situation, then we would. But I think it was you that made the point, Kieran. I'm sure it was you. When I've sort of mentioned, I would love to see Kieran Tierney, play, but it's not going to happen now, and I don't think there's anything Arteta can do now, about bringing Tierney in and bringing Smith Rowe in, giving them game time. I think he wants to. I think if it was a different, if there's a different scenario, I think he would love to. He'd love to give players rest. He'd love to bring Tierney in. He'd love to give Smith Rowe game time. These are players he wants for Arsenal's future. He wants them to be part of and he's been a player himself. He knows what it's like, when you're not playing. So he would want to give these players play time. They're not, this is the important thing, they're not sort of like average players, Tierney and Smith Rowe. They're top class international players. So it must be very, very frustrating for them. I just feel at the moment, we're coming into the last 9 games, and I think you just got to pay not necessarily your best team, but the team that's winning and the team that's doing well, like Jerome said, and that's the usual suspects, the 11 that we see every week. So yeah, look, at the beginning of next season, I'm sure Tierney will get his game time. I'm sure Emile Smith Rowe will get his game time at the beginning of the season. They'll bring him in. They'll give players like Zinchenko's, maybe even Odegaard's, Xhaka's. They may be giving them a rest. You don't know who they're going to bring in. So yeah, but I think he knows. I think we don't have to tell sort of Arteta. We won't have to tell him that. Can you please integrate these players? You should be doing. I think he knows. I think he wants to. It's just at this moment in time, we're in a situation, we're going for the league, there's 9 games to go. And I'd like to think that, see people like Tierney and Smith Rowe and Tomiyasu and Vieira, they know this. They know the situation. And they'll sort of just be part of the squad and cheer the boys on to the end and go again next season.
Yeah. And speaking of next season, Jerome, Florent Balogun, he's still ripping it up in France. Currently got 21 goal contributions in 30 games. That's 18 games. 30 games in all competitions. 18 goals and 3 assists. He's absolutely ripping it up. There's clubs from all over the world looking at him, wanting his signature. Is it time for Arsenal next season to start slowly integrating him into the squad, showing him that he's got a career path at Arsenal? Or cash in?
I don't think, the trouble is, I don't think anyone's going to come in with a big bid for him because no one's got any money unless it's someone from England. And for Arsenal, not like Saliba, but we just haven't seen him play in our team. like he hasn't been given a chance really, like a fair crack at the whip. So I think, I'm sure he'll get opportunities to play, like especially when you play up front, and the wingers. That's like the most commonly substituted position, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I'm sure he'll get minutes. I'm sure we'll see him play, and let's see him against Premier League opposition, because we haven't seen it. We've only seen him in the Championship for a little bit, and in France. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in our team. But yeah, I'm sure he'll have the pre-season with us. He'll play a lot of minutes in pre-season, and hopefully get some action in the first team.
Mm-hmm. Steve, he's in and amongst the likes of Jonathan David, who's got 19, alongside Kylian Mbappe. Alexander Lacazette's got 17 goals. Florent Balogun's got 17, and Wissam Ben Yedder has also got 17. It's a decent enough crowd that he's at the table with there.
Yeah.
If this was any other player, wasn't English, wasn't from England, he was just playing in France, and he was a 21-year-old French player, for instance, do you think that Arsenal will be looking at him? Arsenal fans will be looking at maybe saying Florent Balogun's a player that we should be looking to bring in next season and integrate him with the squad and see how he does? What's your thoughts on the Balogun situation?
I'm laughing because I had exactly that conversation today. Right? If Florent Balogun wasn't an Arsenal player and he was doing what this did in France, people would be rating him as 60 million, 70 million. They'd be talking about him as the next massive thing in world football.
Yeah.
This young kid, wonder kid, who's smashing up France, better than scoring more goals than Kylian Mbappe and Messi and Neymar. And, his name, instead of Florent Balogun, who's on loan from Arsenal from the under-23s, he would be known as this super duper wonder kid that every top club in the country would be at. And you've got Arsenal fans going, should we have him back? Should we sell him for 40 million?
The selling bit. I don't understand the selling bit. I don't understand the selling bit, especially considering all the hype he's getting from France.
It's mad.
It's mad. I don't get it.
It does not make a hands. Can you just imagine, all three of? Can you imagine us being Mikel Arteta sitting watching this kid? Not only that, they know what he's done at Arsenal before he left.
Yeah,
they knew.
And now he's doing it in the men's football.
Now he was smashing it up. Like, we see him, didn't we? And we was like, this kid can finish, can't he? We was like, wow. Do you know what I mean? We haven't seen this guy was just smashing the under-23s. We was like, this kid could be anything, right? And then we sort of forgot about him for a while, and then he went out on a few loans, and now this kid who we were so excited about, and all the coaches, the academy coaches at Arsenal were saying it's going to be the next best real thing, is now out there scoring more goals than Kylian Mbappe, and people are questioning him whether we should. Well, this is the one, isn't it? This is the saying: while he's hot, let's get some good money for him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that?
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta is not going to sell him. If Balogun comes back and he says to Mikel Arteta, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I want to leave. Then Mikel Arteta's got the same psyche as Pep, and he'll turn around and say, well, if you don't want to be here, if you don't want to be part of what we got here, then go. I don't want you here then.
Yeah.
Right. And he's got that attitude with every player. If Thomas Partey went and done that to him tomorrow, he'd say, well, sod off then. Right. He wouldn't think twice about it. If you're not. But Florent Balogun has said he wants to play in the first team at Arsenal and score goals.
Yes. Yeah.
And on this trajectory that he's going in, right, this could be anything. It could be seriously anything. So, Arteta is not going to sell someone of this ilk. Off his trolley. We know our manager. There's no way. If you're mad.
Right. Quickly before we move on, Jerome, in an ideal world, what would you do with Balogun? Would you send him out on loan again to, I don't know, it's up to you. Would you send him out on loan again to a club in a specific league? Would you try and keep him in the team?
I think you keep him in the team. I think he's done so well this season that to send him out on loan again, I don't see the point of it really. You want to see how he gets on now in our team, so I'd keep him with us.
Can I ask you both a question before? Would you put him in front of Eddie Nketiah if he come back?
I want to see him. I haven't seen him. I want to see him first.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Do you know what? I think he's a different player as well.
I'm not slagging off Eddie. I mean, I love Eddie, but
I'd say for me, Balogun's one that plays off of the wing, whereas Eddie plays through the middle, and Eddie looks awkward when he comes off the wing, whereas Balogun, that's probably his natural game. And from what I've seen in France, he's been playing more off the right wing than the left wing, which is what he was playing in at youth level. So it's interesting. So maybe they're just mixing it about a bit more. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to see him in pre-season. I'd have to see him in pre-season, what he's like around the squad. So, yeah, I'm with Jerome on that one. All right. Let's go to this one. Gary Neville claiming that Arsenal fans last season were screaming Arteta out. We'll start with you on this one, Steve. Gary Neville is at it again. And because Arsenal fans are basically what it was a tweet that came out the other day where an Arsenal fan said, look, it's embarrassing basically because you tried to claim that at the halfway point in the season, a team that was 22 points behind us would come above us in the league. He was talking about Liverpool at the time. And then his response to that was, I don't know what you lot are talking about. You were calling out for Arteta out last season.
Yeah, it says the man who said that Man United would have the chance of winning the title. And we've got to listen to this total donut of a... Yeah, he should be on Talk Sport now. He's lost all his credibility to me.
He has, hasn't he?
He's lost... I can't listen to him anymore. I can't listen to him. Whenever he's commentating, I'm like, oh, and I used to like Gary Neville. I used to listen to what he said, and I used to think he made sense. But now he's just talking gibberish. And I mean, Arsenal fans wanted. Do you know what he does? He spends too much time on Twitter and he was seeing the Arteta outers, the non-facers with the non-avatars who were saying Arteta out. But when actually, if you actually look to the people who had half a football brain in them, they wasn't saying Arteta out. No one I spoke to that I can remember was saying Arteta out. I don't remember anybody on this show saying Arteta out. So maybe you should be having a look at Ten Hag at the moment because he's probably, for me, he's the most overrated manager in the Premier League. and I'm not saying I've watched football since I was 5 years old, and I ain't joking either. What this guy
papering over the cracks.
Who? What? Man United?
Yeah.
Paper over in the cracks, mate. Ten Hag, what's he done? He's been at Eredivisie, and he's come into to this, and like, what was that the weekend? What was that? What was that? What you brought off your two centre backs? What? Have you ever seen a manager do that? Ever?
Well, look, if Man United are a serious business, they can't be going to Newcastle and losing 2-0. Like, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care. Yeah. Like, you can't, if you're a serious team, you can't be going up against Newcastle and coming home with no points. Arsenal weren't serious last team. They didn't have the team last year. They've got a better squad this year. And hopefully we go to Newcastle and don't get beaten. But, no, Man United can't be talking about being serious to being somewhere in the league and then they're being picked by the team that's just behind them. And it's Newcastle as well. So
but just on the Arteta thing, no one said that. you know, he's trying to clutch at straws now. He's made himself look like a dickhead all season with his quotes about Arsenal. He's just got proved wrong and more wrong, you know, time after time again. And now he's saying, well, it's a 50-50 now. You know, 50-50 who's going to win it. If they don't,
is that what he said?
Yeah. So if we don't lose against Liverpool, if Arsenal don't lose against Liverpool, I think they'll win the title. But it don't wash. Do you know what I mean? This is the guy who said we wouldn't even get into the Champions League. We finished round about 6 at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, do you know what it is? Yeah, it's the ones because they're already sitting there with their sharpening their knives. Like, if Arsenal don't win the league, if Arsenal this, if Arsenal don't do this, if Arsenal don't do that, it's all geared around Arsenal failing, crumbling. That is all they've got, But if Arsenal do win the league, what are we going to get? Oh, fair play, or we get
people going to know about it.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about what they're going to say. They give us a fair play. They give us, but it was a season where everyone else was crap, or it was a season where this and that. Oh, you was lucky you didn't have injuries. Everyone else had injuries. That is what we're going to get. That's what we're going to. But that's what we're going to get. So I don't care about what you're saying with the whole if we don't. Like, I don't care because your congratulations is going to be empty. It's going to be shallow, and it's going to be said through gritted teeth. It's going to be like 2 words: fair play. That's all we're going to get. So it's not worth it. I don't care what you have to say. I don't care. That's all I'm saying. I don't care. Jerome, Gary Neville takes a swipe at Arsenal fans, claiming that they were all Arteta out last season.
The best one for me with Neville is when he mentioned last season that if Arsenal got 4th, then that's the ceiling, and Arteta might as well go after that.
Yeah.
Like, how many stupid things has he got to say before people just don't listen to him? He's a lot of these pundits. They're not reasonable. They're so biased towards one team that they're not giving you like a fair not opinion, because everyone's allowed an opinion, but it's just too twisted and biased in a certain direction. He just can't bring himself to give this team credit, and that's all right. We don't need it from him. Like, it doesn't bother us, but it's just not nice to see. That's all.
Look, I'm seeing like Man United fans on podcasts saying they're embarrassed now because he's not doing his job. He's being biased. Like, it doesn't. They're saying it looks poor on them when Arsenal are doing so well, and he still can't give him credit. He's like, it don't make sense. That's not professional. You said he's not doing his job, and then they say when it comes to Man United, he's being too nice. Like, dig out the manager where it's needed. If Ten Hag ain't done something right, dig out Ten Hag. But it's all for self-preservation.
I'll tell you what they say, and like other people as well. What they'll say is Neville, and also like Jamie O'Hara as well. They'll say this about their own team. Oh, we're so bad. We're useless. The players should go. Then they'll become playing against Arsenal. They go, oh yeah, we should beat Arsenal though. Well,
yeah,
that's just totally contradicting what you're saying. You're saying you've got a rubbish team, but yet you still fancy them to beat us. Like, it don't make sense.
They're living in a time warp. They see themselves as the Man United that still win the league, and they're seeing this Arsenal team as the Arsenal team from 4 or 5 years ago. Like, they've not watched us, the progression, and that's what I've seen, the progression since Mikel Arteta's come in. Yeah, it was patchy at first because we didn't have the squad. Then we started to get the squad, and you can start to see it, but they weren't really taking it in. It was for like 20 minutes, half hour, and then they revert to type. And then last season was like the real time when it was like, do you know what? They're getting it. Oh, I'm actually seeing something consistent here. And this season, you've seen it. Now, all people keep saying, one season wonder. You didn't watch us then. You've not watched us last season then. When you say one season wonder, you didn't watch us last season. When you say all the other teams have been poor and this has come out of nowhere, no, it hasn't. You haven't been watching us. And this draws me to this one because this is an absolute beauty. I'm sure you'll all be chomping at the bit for this one.
Yeah.
The journalist, let me see if I can. Oh, you can't see Jerome, or you can't see. Oh, there we go. What's going on? There we go. Let's just see Stephen Jerome. He says 8 points clear going into the final 2 months of the season. It will require arguably one of the worst capitulations in Premier League history for Arsenal not to win the title. This is what I'm getting at. You're trying to set everything up for it to make Arsenal look bad by exaggerating everything around it. Like Manchester City have not won 4 out of the last 5 Premier League titles, and in those seasons, have on average hit about 95 points, something ridiculous like that. So let's just remember that one. Next one. The fact it is so much has gone for the Gunners this season. Lack of injuries. Gabriel Jesus out for 4 months. Thomas Partey in and out of the team. Zinchenko out for 3 weeks, then 2 weeks. Who else has been out injured? I could go on, but we won't. Oh, Saliba's out now. Absolute garbage. Tommy Asu's out for the rest of the season. Has been in and out all season. So don't talk to me about... And you know why? Because you don't watch us. It's the same thing. You don't watch us. What is it? Lack of injury troubles. Troubles at their rivals. Oh, no. So I've got to be wary upon season about checking in to see whether there's any issues at rival clubs. Nonsense. No one does this on any other season. Nonsense. The season when City won the league with about 80-something points and Liverpool came 4th, where was the talk then about everyone else has done rubbish? Nonsense. General officiated decisions. Like it's one way. Like Arsenal getting all the decisions. I don't understand.
We've been apologised to, haven't we?
Yeah, twice. And do you know what it felt like? It felt like because they had to apologise to us, they doubled down on how strict they were. They were checking over stuff over the top. It was like you've got one of ours, we're going to take one of yours. Like we got thingy sent to the championship, so they're paying us back by making sure they're going over the lines with a magnifying glass. This one is the one that gets me the most. Yeah, teams not taking them seriously. Okay, so when Arsenal won the first 10 games of the season, yeah, they didn't take us seriously. All right, cool. When we got to Christmas and we'd lost 1 game and drawn 1, you didn't think to take us seriously then? No. So at what point in the season were teams taking Arsenal seriously, and why weren't they before? Is that not a more damning indictment on those teams that they think they can't take a team like Arsenal seriously? They can't take every single team in the Premier League seriously. Embarrassing. You should be looking at yourself, mate. Minimal pressure and expectation from the national media. Rubbish. Arsenal finished outside of the top 4 last season, yeah? We've heard nothing since. You check with every single pundit before the season, Arsenal had to come top 4. There was no choice. If Arsenal didn't come top 4, Mikel Arteta's job would have been under pressure. Maybe not from the Arsenal board, but definitely from the media. Definitely. 100%. Their ability to take advantage of situations has been forged for a few years under Mikel Arteta is now bearing. I don't understand. How have you gone from that to giving us a compliment? The ability to take advantage of situations that have been forged in a few years under Mikel Arteta. That's a great comment. But I'm so angry about the rest of it that I can't take it in. In any normal season, wait,
I think.
wait. Let me just get to the end. In any normal season, they'd be fourth, but this isn't a normal season, and the failure to finish the job now would damage the reputation of all involved considerably. Arsenal can't blow it now. Steve, go
on. I don't know. How long you got? How long we got left?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Do you know what? I think the guy's Ian Doyle. I think he's stupid, pal. Right? I think he's stupid because if you're really trying to put a little spoke in the works, to sort of, so you get a little bit of fear going around, right? I'm sure the first thing that Arsenal have done, if they've read that, is stuck that on their dressing room door, right? And we'll go out there against Liverpool, and I've got total respect for Liverpool. I do like Liverpool, and they would have one thing on their mind after reading that is that we're going to give your boys the biggest battering, right, that you have ever witnessed. Because
I would love to put that first challenge in. Yeah,
you don't know these players, my whoever you are, Mr. Doyle. You don't know these players.
Yeah,
right. You may think that these are young players, right, who are still raw, right. This team is full of title winners and players who are now looked upon as on the verge of world class, and they've got the mentality of some of the best players around at the moment. So I thank him for that. Right? Because all that's going to do is make Arsenal players go out there and absolutely want to batter and whip the arse of who. And I know what they keep going on about, the bad seasons and all that. And what, Man City are bad? When do you get 4 teams going for a title? Name me a year when you get with 8 games to go and you've got 4 teams going for a title. It's always 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
When the fantastic Liverpool, right, were going for their 2 titles when they won 1 and lost 1, it was them and Man City. When Arsenal and Man United were going at 1 at this time, it was a Man United and Arsenal thing. There's never a Man United and Man City and then another.
Yeah.
Never.
The closest we got was the season. The closest we got was like the first season when Chelsea got some money, and it was Man United, Arsenal, and Chelsea. That went downhill for Arsenal very quickly.
And other than that, you can't. Yeah. Other than that, it doesn't wash.
No,
it may watch with people unlike us who will look into that and just think, oh yeah, Man United are in that position, Liverpool in this position, but that happens every year. There's always a Tottenham, a Chelsea, or a Liverpool, or sometimes it was an Arsenal, or a sitting in 8, sitting in 7. It happens when Man City have been at their pomp, right? They've only been battling it out with one other team. They're not battling it out with 3 or 4. The third place team or the 4th team, you could
about
say
10 points behind. Yeah.
You don't say, oh, Man City have won the league this year because those was shit. Or they're playing no. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
And this geezer's got the cheek to
post
it and make it. And you made yourself look like a dick. And I'm going to find this geezer.
But there's a lot of people that have had that mindset. They talk about every other team has been poor this season. What's your thoughts on that one, Jerome?
Yeah, lots of teams have been poor. Lots of teams have been poor, but those other teams are irrelevant, really, because
it's the same every year.
We're going up against Man City, so it doesn't really matter. Also, the fact about he says it's going to be a capitulation, like Man City win their game in hand, they're 5 points behind us. Then they've got to play us at home.
Yeah, like if they win, that's 2 points.
Then that's one game. That's one game.
And if we draw against Liverpool, there's your 2 points. We're on even points.
Exactly.
And this is what I mean. Everything that people are saying is geared up, so it's like it's making out that Arsenal have fallen apart, have crumbled. It's the title. It's called a title race. It's not over. Like we've got 9 games to go. I do not understand where people are trying to get this Arsenal crumbled. Arsenal have bottled it if we don't win from now. we've got Liverpool, Newcastle, and Manchester City.
Mm.
What like if we had all the teams in the bottom half, I'd still worry because they're relegation teams. There's teams that shouldn't be in the relegation zone that are going to be in relegation battle. Mind you, we've got to play West Ham as well, away from home, who do not want to get relegated this season. So again, another tough game, which is why Martin Keown said West Ham's going to be a tough game, and everyone laughed at him. And I was like, no, he's right.
Yeah.
West Ham don't want to go down.
Yeah. In addition to that, there's a lot of people that feel like, the media and referees are like out to get us, right? A lot of people feel like, a lot of Arsenal fans feel like the refs and the media are out to get us. And articles like that add fuel to that fire because it's just so one way.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that situation that the Arsenal fans feel like people are out to get them because it's just wrong. Because
you've already written off the title before we've won it. You've already said that it's a half-assed title win, which is quite shameful coming from a Liverpool fan, considering they won the title in a season where there's no one in the stands and they were willing to give it to you halfway through the season. So I don't know why this guy's talking. It's just to essentially write off Arsenal's title before they've won it. But he's not fair. All right, that is all we have time for. Jerome has got to shoot. We are over time as well, 7 minutes over. Just start a little bit late. Thank you for everyone who's joined us. Thank you for everyone in the comment section. Melvin, Brush. Did I say evening? I didn't. Make sure you join us every Tuesday at 8 o'clock for the Arsenal show. Make sure you join us every Monday for the Super Six podcast, and you've got to catch my intros. I don't know what I'm going to say next week, but I'm sure I'll make up something.
They're good, I tell you, they're really good. You've got to tune in just for that.
And make sure you catch us for the post-match reaction on the weekend after Arsenal's massive game against Liverpool. Hopefully you see our faces absolutely gleaming at the end of that. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.